Hello and welcome back to another episode of Doctor in a Bikini. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching and subscribing. I haven't decided if I'm posting this yet to my podcast platforms, so if you're listening to your car, then I guess I decided to post it. So I figured I'd do a 2-for-1 today. Instead of just recording my post-show episode, I'm also going to meal prep while we chat because I've got a lot to say today. Usually, I say it like I've done it more than once, but my intent, and I will say I'm gonna apologize ahead of time if you're listening in your car and the audio is not like it usually is. You're gonna hear all sorts of whatever is associated with meal prep, but you're also gonna hear some very real, authentic comments from me. So hopefully you enjoy, and if not, my feelings will only be hurt just a little bit. So first, the reality of a competitor, my pans are almost all dirty, and because I'm a human being, a lot of them are still dirty. So we're using this musty, dusty, crusty old pan. I don't even think I want to show you the inside of it. But yeah, while I'm chatting, so right now I'm going to be prepping my turkey. Usually it's easy for me because I'm boring with my food to just prep bulk things and then just customize from there. So really I'm not doing anything crazy, but I am doing my proteins, I'm doing my carbs while I chat with you guys because I want to try and get as much done as possible, but I also want to stay consistent on here. So I will say off the top, it's gonna be some hot takes about my show experience and how I'm feeling. I did the Dennis James Classic, which was my very first show last year, if you know me. So it was a very special show to me because it was my first one. So last year I didn't know what to expect. And if you hear a spray, sorry audio listeners, but if you're watching, you already know. So yeah, so it was a very special show to me. I feel like I was in a fine headspace. I'm also gonna step out of the frame and get a spatula, DIB. And we're back. Yeah, so it was a very special show to me. I feel like I was in a good headspace, but also I feel like every single prep is different. Something different happens, you feel a different way. And I will say this was probably the first one that I was on the literal struggle bus, and not just like prep struggle bus. I mean, I didn't feel super confident. I felt like I was trying really hard to be confident, I should say. And I don't know, I just feel like maybe my body and my mind just weren't in it like it was the first time, especially with it being the same show that I had that I had done a year ago. I figured it would just be super special because I was returning, so it was a big deal. But I think the first show, and for those who have competed before, and even if you haven't competed before, the first one is so special because you don't know what to expect. So it's just this different sense of euphoria. And the second one, I qualified for nationals when I didn't expect it. So again, that was just a whirlwind. I didn't know what to expect literally at all. So different emotions. And then this was my second year competing. So I had a goal this year. And last year I didn't have a specific goal. I just wanted to show up and I wanted to carry on with the goal that I set myself. And that's really what the theme of last year was. But this year, it was the first year that I had a specific goal. And I feel like you have to be careful with that in my experience. I'm only speaking on my experience. I think you have to be careful because you don't want to weigh your success on whether or not you achieve that specific goal you set. So to be specific, this year I wanted to win an overall. And I'm sure I'm not the only competitor that's come back their second year and said, I want to win the overall. But that's the goal I set for myself, and I know that one day I'm going to achieve it. So this year I had the original goal as well of doing 3 shows, while also starting a podcast, while also quitting and changing my job, while also planning a wedding. It's fine. I'm psycho. It's good. We know this. But you know what? I accept that. And I actually, so I haven't told people in my personal life this yet, or not a lot of people, but I did drop out of the third show that I was going to do because of my own reasons, and I'll get to that. But this last weekend, it's like I just wasn't in it. I was, but I just didn't feel, I don't know, I didn't feel I was in the zone. I didn't feel super confident. I felt like I was kind of tearing myself apart more than usual. And let me get to the juicy stuff, because some of you, I know I like went way into deep territory and I've lost like half of you. I will say this show was the first show I experienced where and I'm not going to be specific with this part because you never know who's watching or who's listening, but I had my first mean girl experience this time. Like, listen, this year, some people have been talking about how they've experienced bullying, right? Thankfully, I have never before this show felt like anybody was even giving me bullying tones. Not even a little bit. I felt like I've experienced nothing but love and support and camaraderie, and it's been beautiful, and I didn't expect that at all when I first went into the sport. But man, this year, and like I said, I'm not going to give specifics because you just never know. I feel like sometimes your enemies are closer, so they could be my number one fan listening to this, so I want to give literally zero hint that they bothered me. But I had somebody that essentially, they've always kind of commented on things about me and my physique, but I didn't take anything from it. But literally the day of trying to get into my head, I'm trying to figure out the fine line of how much do I say and how much do I not say. Somebody that is involved in the sport came up to me and made it a point to try and make me feel inferior. And I don't even think they realized they were doing it, which is the terrible part. They were making comments about my appearance. Oh, that's beautiful on camera. Now you get to see my mannerisms. They tried to make comments about me being at a disadvantage and about how I looked, about my level of leanness, not even realizing that I was already up my own noose. I was already in my head for this prep, and no one's harder than ourselves. No one's harder on us than ourselves. God, I don't even have prep brain as the excuse anymore. I mean, I guess I kind of do, but yeah, so it's like, you don't need somebody else to give you shit. Thanks. But it wasn't even the fact that the comments were made to me. It was the fact that, I'm going to step away a little bit from the camera, so those who are listening on audio, I'm sorry, but you know, I'm also doing the meal prep while talking to you guys, so watch on YouTube if you don't like how it sounds. But I already was in my own head. I'm like, I'm already hard enough on myself, you know? I don't need somebody else that I thought was my buddy to then make comments about my physique and to try and say that I am at a disadvantage. That's pretty messed up, you know? But it wasn't even the fact that they said that got to me. It's the fact that somebody thought it was okay to randomly disclose their own opinion to another athlete. I just think that's something I would never do. I would never go out of my way to say something that wasn't intended to be positive. Maybe they meant it to be positive, I don't know, but didn't appreciate it. So yeah, that was something that was different this year. And I think between being in my own head, and it was just so weird because most of the time I was calm, but it's like to the very end, all of a sudden I just wasn't me. And here's why I wanted to talk about it with you all today, because one of the reasons I created this podcast was to create an open and honest dialogue about the not so pretty parts of life and fitness. It's not always beautiful, it's not always confident, it's not always perfect. I mean, I didn't even bother cleaning up the back of my apartment for you guys because I was like, that's not the message I'm trying to portray. Now, you don't need to see my sink right now, but that's another point. Yeah, so another reason why I want to come on here, I didn't want to just talk about that. That's just like a little blimp. But I also was delaying doing this episode the day before and the day after, just like I did for Wings of Strength. I did a pre-post episode if you haven't listened yet. And my original intent was to keep that exact same format. I thought that was cool, see how I was feeling before the show and see how I was feeling right after. Well, candidly, I wasn't feeling super great the day before the show. I waited until nighttime to record the episode for you guys, and I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the words to share. I was trying to figure out my own headspace. And even after the show, so I'm super embarrassed to admit this because it's not good, but it's real. I don't even like looking at the pictures of myself on show day. And that's sad. That's not normal. You know, you should just be nothing but proud of yourself. I don't know if it's because of the comments that were said to me in combination with however I was already feeling. And it's weird because if you asked me before I stepped on stage, I was feeling good. But I noticed that I wasn't really trying to take pictures after the show. And I didn't know if it's because I didn't really want a bunch of pictures with people or if it was because how I was feeling in the moment. But I think it was a combination. Like I just felt, the first show I felt, I don't know, just me and free. And I was ready to just show off my hard work. I felt good. It was almost like I felt reserved and shy after this show. Like I didn't want to show off. I felt like I was way past like the humble zone. I was just like the, thanks for coming, but like, let's move on. Let's not talk about or look at my body right now. And I was like, shit, that's terrible. You know, like you should feel like a rock star. No matter how you looked that day, you should step off stage, be proud of yourself. Who cares how you did? And here's the funny part. I got second freaking place, and that's amazing. So why is it that our body and our emotions can make us feel that way where we don't feel like we should? So I wanted to talk about that because I wanted to share what I'm going through and how I'm handling it, because logically I know what I know, but it doesn't change the fact that maybe I'm putting effort into feeling comfortable and proud right now. And I'll be honest, that makes me wonder, that's not even why I dropped from the third show, but there was still a third show I'm gonna do, but I'm 50-50. I'm wondering if it's healthy for me to do the next show, or should I take a break? Is that an indicator of maybe I should work on off-season body, or is this just a phase this week? Because I'm also, spoiler alert, the last episode I mentioned, or the last show episode, I mentioned how I got a nice little Mother Nature surprise right before I got on stage. It happened again. It happened again. So shout out to my body for wanting to work and be fertile, and all the pipes are working down there. But do you have to do it the week of show week when we're already a hormonal mess? So I don't know how much of it is that. I don't know what is post-show blues. I don't know. And that's exactly why I'm talking about it, because I'm not an expert. I'm just sharing my experiences and what I know so far from my own body. And that's this week's lesson for me, is when you're not feeling 100%, how do you make yourself feel 100%? How do you recognize when you have faulty thinking patterns? And what do you do to change that? So for me, I noticed the first year I took a lot of photos, and I think I did that as reassurance and a way to measure progress. And I stopped doing that this year. And for me and my needs, I think that was a mistake, because photos and videos are a great way to measure progress. And hold on, I'm gonna get some water. Did I mention too, I have a wedding dress fitting today? So today is the day that I'm recognizing I need to put in the effort to feel good. And I'm really excited and I'm really proud about that, especially getting on a platform to confess this to strangers who could totally just take it upon themselves to try and rip me to shreds. If that's your jam, I'm sorry. And honestly, I don't care. I'm in that headspace at least where I don't care. But yeah, so I took pictures this morning, and that was my point. I took pictures this morning for myself because Connor, my fiance, he actually picked up on it. He goes, hey, what's wrong? I said, honestly, I don't even know if I want to talk about it. And he goes, is it your tum-tum again? And I said, yeah, that's why I just didn't want to talk about it, because I realize that it's not fair to me. If I were my best friend, I would never have those thoughts about my best friend's body. I would tell her how rockin' of a bod she has, how much of an awesome rock star she is for doing this. She should be so proud. She looks amazing. She is amazing. And those are the things that we need to say to ourselves when we're feeling low, when we're feeling bloated, when we're feeling guilty, whatever. We need to put ourselves in the shoes of how would we speak to our best friend, not how does insecure me talk to insecure me, you know? So while this turkey's cooking, I'm just gonna keep chatting your head off. Yeah, so this morning I took photos, a bunch of photos. Like, I felt like a gym douche, but I did it because I was trying to commemorate, wow, Shannon, look at what you've accomplished. Look how strong your body is. Look at how fueled your body is. And recognizing the fact that I look good. And that was actually really helpful today. So if you are struggling with feeling good about yourself, I get that not everyone likes photos, but dress up, do your hair. If you're a makeup person, you like that, go ahead, do your makeup. Do whatever you want to do that makes you feel good. Maybe you get a nice peel for your skin, you look all glowy, you got your moisturizer on, whatever it is. Just do something to celebrate yourself and then document it. And if you're not a picture person, write it down. Write about all the things that you love about yourself. Write about the features about yourself that you love. Talk about the things that you're proud of your body for doing. Not what it looks like, but wow, I can walk up a flight of stairs and I feel strong. Wow, I was able to carry all of my groceries, from to the car to my home. That's awesome. I have the fueled body to allow myself to perform these things. I can perform my job well, or wow, I was able to have a fun night with my friends and family. And I want to circle back that too, because for competitors, as soon as you're done with the show, what's the first thing people ask you? Oh my gosh, when are you free so we can go celebrate? We can go get happy hour, we can get food, we can get drinks. Oh my gosh, it's so great. I'm so happy that you can finally eat. And I'm not knocking people for that, because absolutely, you should celebrate and your friends are excited because they just think, oh, the things that you've been restricted from, you can now open the floodgates and do it all. And you want to do it all. Especially if you're a people pleaser like me, or you're blessed to have many people that you love in your life and they all want to celebrate with you. You want to celebrate with them too. Of course, I want to have the donuts. I want to go to the coffee shop. I want to make those pancakes. I want to go to breakfast with my fiance. I want to go to date night. I want to go to happy hour with friends. You want to do it all. And you should. You should do it in a way that is somewhat in moderation, makes sense to you, feels good to you. And the part where I'm struggling is it is hard to find that balance. It is hard to find that fine line of, okay, I want to do these things. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to do what I want and what feels good. Here comes the kicker. You're not allowed to let yourself feel guilty afterwards. If you choose these things, if you choose to fuel your body or enjoy these parts of life, don't do that to yourself where then you feel guilty. And that's also, I think, a very ongoing lesson for myself and probably a lot of other competitors, because we're human. It can be so hard to restrain yourself when something is so delicious and you want it all, and that's fine. But you have to remind yourself that, what's today? Thursday? Show is Saturday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm a grown adult and I still am counting on my fingers. So it's been 5 days since the post show. – Maybe they haven't been perfect. So what? And that's what I need to say more to. So what? Okay, it hasn't been perfect. You're not a machine. You went a little hard in the paint with some of the snacks. It's fine, especially if you are leading a life that is generally balanced and healthy. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if you go off the plan for a little bit. Sorry, I had to mix my turkey there, so it was a little delayed. But I wanted to share that with people because, at least for me, it is very easy to not give yourself credit on those things and to feel bad, to feel guilty. It might be easy, but it's not fair. So hopefully me being very vulnerable about my current post-show prep goggles, whatever they're called, hopefully it is helpful, I guess, for lack of better words, to hear somebody else be open and honest about that in a very vulnerable way. But that's real, that's life. And you know what? This has also been a week full of a lot of treats. Let me just talk about some of those because, you know, like I said, it doesn't have to all be serious, and I want to share the treats with you guys. So if you haven't already seen it, I did post a video of Sean's Olympia cookie from PDX Cookie Co. And oh my God, it was so decadent. I like to say it was so delicious that it was kind of gross. Meaning it had so many layers. I'm going off the top of my head here. So it was chocolate, M&Ms, Reese's, Twix, Milky Way, Nutella, peanut butter, all in a cookie. Sorry, I had to itch my eye, and like I said, not trying to make this video perfect, so I'm gonna let myself itch my eye. Oh my God, it is, yep, okay, that was like the deep itch that needed to be scratched. Ugh. If you live in Arizona, you understand, I swear, it's never not a season of allergies around here. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Not crying, I just had a major itchy fest in my eyelashes. It is what it is. I think I'm allergic to the eyelash glue. Yep, these are falsies. That's fine. I'm fine. Yeah, so Sean's Olympia cookie, oh my God. Just go watch the video and you'll understand. But, so since I shot my shot and I tagged them, so my new thing, I know this is like squirrel brain to the max, my new thing is I'm recording these treat reviews post-show. And honestly, I'm probably just gonna be doing it throughout because there's so many small businesses out there that deserve the attention. And honestly, like I said, I'm trying to live my life and I'm a big dessert kind of person. So I'm gonna try them and I'm gonna rate them. Just gonna be a thing. So, Doctor in a Bikini, tag whoever you know, whatever small business, and I will record and review said treats because I live for those treats. But thank you, PDX Co. They are actually sending me as we speak. It's on the way, I should say. Their July flavors. Oh yeah, Bo Man? He's excited too. What are you doing? What? Oof, oof. No, you're fine. I love you too, but you don't need to hoof hoof. You don't need to hoof hoof. Mr. Handsome, Sir barks a lot. So yeah, what I was saying, PDX Co. They are so gracious to send me those treats and I am so excited to try them. So TBD, because I will be recording that. And I also have, these probably won't happen if I decide to do the next show until after that show. But I did order these massive blondies, crazy flavors. I'm not even gonna spoil it for you, from Hey Sweetie. Oh, stay tuned for that too. All right, while those are cooking, I'm gonna rinse some taters and then I'm gonna chop them and we'll keep chatting. All right, I'm back from rinsing said taters and I might not be able to finish everything in one recording. So when the lighting changes, it's because I had to leave for my bridal appointment. But while I was rinsing and waiting for them to dry, I went ahead and finished the turkey. Gosh, words are hard. Like I said earlier, I don't need a whole lot. I'm pretty boring when it comes to food, especially when it's a plug and chug meal prep basis. But something I'm working on because I do want to have more fun and get creative with food. It's just in the meantime, with all of the things that are happening, such as life, you just gotta do what you gotta do. So I got in bulk this just regular taco seasoning from the grocery store. Instead of getting the 88-cent, 50-cent packs, this was cheaper per ounce, so I full sent at Winco yesterday. For my taters, again, I like to keep it simple. I'm just gonna do some good old garlic salt, maybe some onion powder on there, and the rest will, the potato will do the talking. I'm gonna chop. I'm gonna be looking down so I don't get my fingers. Those who know us personally are chuckling because Connor literally got his finger last week. Texted me a picture at work and was like, hey. So I was messing around with the garbage disposal and I was like, what? And he goes, and then I was done cleaning the garbage disposal. It's like, oh. And then I was drying off my Letterman, and then Letterman. And oops, it snagged. So yeah, fingers are a sensitive topic around here in this household right now. While I was rinsing the taters too, I also realized I keep saying taters. You won't be able to tell me anything different. I did want to, before I moved on completely from the show, reflect on some positive things because I pretty much just skipped into the hard, keeping it real stuff for you, but I didn't commemorate the positive things. So I will say I appreciate Dennis James as a show so much. I like how succinct it is. They were very much on point with the schedule. I thought that the flow of the day was beautiful. The day ends early, so that way we can eat earlier. For those of you who don't know, if you're not familiar, Bikini, which is my division, always goes last. We are there usually first thing because you want to secure a spot. So I had my makeup done, which actually wasn't that early, at 6 a.m. I opted to do my hair just to save money, and I opted to do my own tan to save money, but I did get my makeup done. And once I was done, I think right at 7, I headed to the venue. It was in Scottsdale, and I was there just after the doors opened, so that way I could secure a spot on the wall and let my legs be on the wall, all that fun stuff. So point being, your girl was up super early. I beat most of the men there, and they are usually there first, and they go first. I was probably the 5th person there, period. So I was early, but I was also almost the very last competitor group to go, because you have all of the divisions. When it gets to bikini, you get the novice classes first, then you go through the height classes and the master classes, I should say, first before the height classes. And because I've won a novice category before, I can't do a novice again, which means I'm only competing in my height class, which was C, and I think it went all the way to F or G that day. So it is a long day, but I appreciate how fluid the show was, which was great. Most of the people were super duper duper nice, especially all the workers. All of them were just gems, expediters, judges, all that stuff. Oop, there goes a tater. But yeah, and then it was really cool, really small world. So a lot of you may or may not even know, and that's okay, but I had a family member there actually that I haven't seen since 2016, which is a very significant year for me for many reasons. I may have covered that in a previous episode. Sometimes I forget what I tell you guys. But long and short, I think I talked about it with the episode with Taylor, the body positivity episode. It was a very traumatic and transformative year for me. I'll just say that. And I lost more than one somebody, but I lost this person in particular in a very traumatic, devastating way. And one of our mutual family members happened to be at the venue working it that day, and I haven't seen him since that year. So it was really cool because to have somebody in the audience cheering you on, regardless of how well you do, is already super special. But it's really cool when you can actually see them. And this person, I could actually see them in the audience, and they just looked like they were beaming with pride on behalf of themselves and the family member. So I had already had a few signs recently from that family member, I think, this year, just given that it's such a transformative year with getting married and lots of planning, and usually you have your closest family members at those events. So it's been really neat to have a few signs from both of the people I lost this year, and I felt like she was there on show day, and I thought that was really, really special. So despite all the things I'm telling you about what I think you'll care about or what I think is relevant for the people, dang it, another tater down. Ultimately, this is my podcast, and I think it is important for me to share the things that make me me and my experiences. So, I mean, I can always talk about that on another time, how to cope with trauma and deal with trauma, but if that's something you're going through, I highly recommend listening to the episode I just did with Celeste Rains-Turk. She is incredible. We've all been through stuff, you know, but I was fortunate for her to talk a little bit about how to handle or cope going through big life changes. So if that's you, I definitely recommend listening to that, since I'm not really going into that today. But yeah, I was really thankful for the experience. I thought the show was incredible. The treats were incredible. The family support, I will never be able to fathom how much that means to me, that I have a fiance that is basically near tears every single show day. It's the sweetest thing ever. He like beams with pride. You know those pictures where it's like an animal and a little animal and they go, I made this. He didn't make me, but I just feel like he's one of my biggest supporters all the time. So really blessed for that. And again, I haven't acknowledged it. So for those who are listening on audio, hopefully the sound of me chopping taters is more like ASMR. Nice and pleasing, not a weird distractor. But you know, hey, you're still listening, so I haven't lost you yet. I did forget to circle back to, oh God, I like pointed the knife at you guys menacingly. Again, SpongeBob reference. I always joke with prep treats. There's that audio that said, I think it's Patrick Starfish, and he goes, it's just standing there, staring at me, menacingly. And that's me with literally anything chocolate or dessert related during prep. It's always just staring at me, especially if your donut's at the grocery store. Oh my God. Haven't had a donut in probably like a year and a half. No reason in particular. I just think by the time I can have it, there's also a million other things that I also want to have. So the donuts just kind of get left to the side. But anyways, I don't know how I went from zero to SpongeBob, but I did want to circle back to, I mentioned the show that I dropped in case it's relevant to anybody as far as choosing a show, choosing when not to do a show. Everyone's going to have their own reasons, and I'm actually chatting with my coach about it today, but I was supposed to do a national show in 5 weeks, or that was my original plan, I should say, not that I was supposed to. But I think after my headspace this last show, I didn't know if I wanted to just show up to a national show. I wanted to show up with intention and with a specific goal, other than just showing up better than I did last year. I don't know, which that's totally fine as a goal. If that's someone's main vision is they just want to beat themselves, I think that that is absolutely enough reason if that's somebody's thought process. But for me, between all the things this year, financial changes, I didn't know if just showing up to show up was good enough for my reasoning. So I did opt to drop out. I don't know. Grammar is hard sometimes, you know? So instead, I feel good about it. I think I'm going to be doing this other show. Again, Sally and I are talking about it soon, and I'm actually doing an episode with her soon, so stay tuned, because I think a lot of people's questions will be answered with Sally's episode, so I'm really excited about that. Just an update in general. I'm probably going to hop off here and then pick up recording after the wedding dress alterations, and I'll let you know how it goes. And yeah, thanks for hanging with me while I'm meal prepping in the meantime. See you later. So like many others, you may be thinking, wow, you have your alterations appointment the week after a show. Oh, I know. So you see, what had happened was, when I got the dress, it was November of last year, and NPC Arizona didn't actually release their show dates until January of this year. And for anybody that has planned a wedding, or knows someone who's planned a wedding, or been in a wedding, you know, stuff gets, especially after COVID, scheduled way in advance. So even though the show wasn't posted, I've had my alterations appointment scheduled literally since November of 2022. But yeah, I'm excited. I've been doing everything normal wedding related, I guess traditional wedding related, even though I've been in prep. So I'm sorry, I know this video is, so we're gonna see if this bold strategy pays off. But you know what? All things work out and it's gonna be great. Everything's gonna fit great. So wish me luck. All right, I am back. Fitting went well, crisis averted. I think everything will work out. Super impressed by her. If you need someone in Arizona, let me know and I will tell you who's doing my dress. But I especially hopped on here because it's like their ears were burning. The treats that I mentioned right before I left, they're here. Now these are the ones that I'm not supposed to try until July, but I'm still gonna look at them and I'm gonna show you what they look like. Okay, so this is from Hey Sweetie, spelled Hay and then Sweetie. Austin, Emily, if you're watching, Sweetie. All right, oh, buckets. Okay, so here is their little ad here. Look at that goodness. So those are their cookies. I honestly found them by searching the word cookie on Instagram, and I wanted to find just a small business that looked like they had ridiculously fun treats, just so I could support and video them. So this is the first time it comes in this cute little decked up box. I'm excited. Oh. This might be my favorite part, like getting my reaction on camera to how ridiculous the treats are. Now again, it's Arizona, which means it's hot and it's sweaty outside. Here's the first one. Does it have the name on it? Oh, dang it. Well, I'm gonna have to post the name when I post this. I'll probably make this an Instagram post too, but if you're watching the YouTube right now, thank you. Here is the first one. These are part of their fun July pack that they had. Look at this one. This is one of 3. Now I'm gonna freeze these until after the show, but this is cookie dough, white chocolate chips. There's some brown, just a red velvet brownie in there. I wanna say there's a layer of edible brownie dough and then Oreos on top. Like, that is insane. Like I said, it's gonna go directly into my freezer. This is so hard to show it to you guys and not try it. All right, here's the second one. This is like the Cookie Monster one. I have always wanted, oh my God, guys. Like, how cute is this? So, oh my gosh. Yeah, so needless to say, it's their take on Cookie Monster. So there's bits of Chips Ahoy cookie in there. There's cookie dough. I wanna say, is that a brownie layer? I don't know, white chocolate chips. I'm gonna list what's in there below, but look at that. That side profile. Side eye. Oh my God. Okay, and here's the third. It's like this one was, ooh, it's a little melty. So this one definitely needs to go into the freezer like ASAP Rocky. But there's strawberry Pop-Tart bitties on there. Yeah, that one's like so ooey gooey. It needs to go in there like right now. So those are gonna be after my show. Like I said, I've got a box from, so this was Hey Sweetie. I've got a box from PDX Co, their July flavors that they're graciously sending to me. These I will not try until later in July. The July flavors that PDX Co. is sending me, I will be trying, just because then you can get the exclusive on whether or not to jump in on their July pack. You're probably gonna want to. Anyways, figured I'd update you. And yeah, if you're watching this on Instagram, stay tuned. This is actually just a small clip of my recorded podcast episode. And if you're watching on YouTube or listening in your car still, you're a real one. So, bye guys.